Welcome to Health Diary. My name is Winnie Lubembe and we're coming to you from the Avenue Hospital. So today on the show, we'll be focusing on a fairly new or different type of weight management, and this is on behavioral change. Because most of the time when we talk about weight management, it's easy for someone to tell you, why don't you stop eating too much? Or they'll tell you, why don't you cut down on your wheat intake or milk or anything. But it is more than that. It goes beyond just stopping eating, but also focusing on our behaviors and our food relationships. So that is what we'll be focusing on the conversation today. But of course, it's coming up after this fact of the matter.
Body weight is usually influenced by genetic, metabolic, behavioral, environmental, cultural, and socioeconomic influences. However, over time, evidence has shown that effectively changing human behavior and lifestyle is a corporate approach for weight management with recognized worthy success in achieving weight loss and maintenance. Behavioral change techniques are now chief contributory factors to any weight management program.
All right, well, let's get to understand more about behavioral change for weight management. And I know this is a fairly new concept for majority of us who've not heard about it. And of course, to help us with this, we have Dr. Benjamin G here, who is a laparoscopic surgeon as well as a wellness coach. So Dr., thank you for sparing your time. All right, and of course, we also have Lillian Wanjiru, who is a wellness champion. And let me tell you, I think by the end of the show, you'll get to understand why she's a wellness champion, all right? Because her story is just amazing. But Doc, let's start with weight. And of course, the whole concept about being fit versus being healthy versus just understanding weight and the whole aspect about mental health. So it's a lot of things that is encompassed. So let's just start with being healthy. What exactly does that mean when we say someone is healthy?
When we say someone is healthy, it means that all their domains are in balance. So whether it's mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, all of them are in balance. But you find that at the foundation of all of this, it requires our body, this vessel that carries all these domains, to be in balance. In looking at that aspect of balance, then you must imagine that it figures that what goes in and what comes out really determines what's at balance. And for me, I might be biased in that way because I'm a surgeon, but I believe that the food tract, all the way from the food pipe all the way to the rectum and anus where the food passes through, it really determines how our bodies now maintain that. Why? Because that's the pathway through which the fuel that drives our bodies passes through. So I would say the health of your gut determines your overall health in whichever domain you're looking at.
So then, when does weight become an issue? And I know majority of the times when we talk about weight, it could be a bit relative depending on how you look at it. But at the end of the day, is it then when there's no balance in all these aspects? Or what exactly happens that becomes an issue?
So think about our bodies as this ultimate machine. So you have your bones being able to support the muscles, and these are the ones that are meant to make you move around. Then that forms the strut on which you have now the other cells that allow you to do every other thing, that give you hormones to regulate what you're taking in, what's going out, regulate your energy. And so when you're considering weight, you must remember that there's the weight contributed by your bones, there's the weight contributed by your muscles, and then all these other organs that are the support system for that are also bringing their weight. Your body has this set balance in terms of weight where it needs to operate optimally. So there is a weight, for example, for your bones that your body is comfortable with. There is the weight that your muscles add on that your body is comfortable with. And then there's ultimately now what a lot of people have a problem with is the non-functional weight. So the weight that I'm carrying on that really adds no value. And a lot of this will be attributable to the weight that we bring on fat stores that we don't necessarily need. And that's where it becomes a challenge, where your body is carrying around more non-functional weight than it would require to carry.
And of course, again, like we said, today we'll be focusing on the behavioral aspect of the same, because majority of the times when we talk about weight, people just say, so you stop eating and then you'll be healthy, right? Or so you stop running and then you'll be healthy. But there's so much more to the same. So I think we'll come back to you to really understand then what that is all about. But Lillian, let's go back to 2021, right? So you said you used to weigh, what, 74?
74,
right?
yes.
Were you okay with it? What was the biggest issue? Because I want to really understand why you joined the behavioral aspect, because it's not like you were just sitting, going about life. You were active, even at that time. So can we just go back very quickly, understanding how life was in 2021 and even before that brought about the weight and, of course, your reasons to be a bit fitter and more healthier.
2021, I would say basically same old story of how you get to work, just normal. I would ordinarily take a boda to work and then just walk like a small stretch now to the office. But then there's when you're going up the stairs now to your house and there's the usual, you run short of breath, or people are going running and you want to join them and you just run, 10 meters and you're like, you just go. This is not for me. Still in 2021, I had my cousin went for a hike, and she was going for a hike rather, and she invited me to it, and we went, and it was nasty for me. It was such a struggle. I did make it, or it's in the Abadea's Elephant Hill, and people will tell you it's quite difficult, and people were doing it so easily, and then there was me who was taking 2 steps and telling the guide no. At a point, I actually said I'm not going any further. And then in this group, you have like 5 other people, and they tell you, tunaenda, you're not going to remain at it, you're not going to make it. All of us are making it, even if we will go at the speed of those 2 steps of yours and resting. And I think that was the wake-up call for me. You should not have gone through it like this. It wasn't supposed to be this much a struggle. And that was my wake-up call, basically.
So were you then concerned more about your weight or the fact that you're not able to do some of these activities with a bit of ease in terms of like your fitness level?
Not being able to do this. Not being able to do this,
okay.
Yes.
All right. And I'm curious about your relationship with food then.
Now, my relationship with food. Basically, I have to get full. That is one. And it has to be ugali. My basic meal was ugali. I had to take ugali for supper.
Were you the everyday lazima
Everyday ugali.
Okay.
Everyday ugali.
All right.
And actually that had also been my biggest struggle with now the behavioral change now and, disciplining yourself. I wouldn't understand how you'll sleep without taking ugali. Yes.
Okay, so tried several things. You used to go for walks, you would do hikes. You were not okay with the same until you came across the behavioral change program.
Yes.
All right. Before we get to that, Dr. Ari, what exactly is it all about? Because we all know you go to the gym. For some people, try to lose, the weight. Others would go the surgery way. Others would go the balloon way. There's so many, different aspects that people would try. But again, like I said, behavioral, pretty new to most of us.
What determines how we are? You've heard people say, our family, we are big. And that comes to the genes that inherit. Why this is important is because, remember at the beginning we said our bodies love balance. And your great-great-grandfather, your great-great-grandmother, for them to have survived, they needed to have been able to maintain their bodies in balance, regardless of how the environment was, regardless of how the food situation was. And those genes get passed on to you. But the only thing that changes is the environment within which you operate. So think about it like 2 or 3 generations prior, the environment would determine when there were vegetables available, when there were fruit available, the availability of water. And so your generational ancestors developed mechanisms to cope with the environment then. The environment we live in currently is different. If I want fruit, I walk to the supermarket, I get. If I want an increased water, I just buy an additional dispenser or whatever my source of water is. So that changes, but our building blocks have not changed. And so building on the genes that we've inherited is at a level we call epigenetics, the environment and the nurture that we've come to. And so you find that for you to be able to break free of the, I would say, shackles that your genes have dealt you, the cards that your genes have dealt you, you need to change your behavior around your food.
All right, and of course, Lily, I'm curious to hear from you, because it's like a normal Kenyan setup, I would say, how most of us were brought up. So for you, and especially understanding now and thinking before, would you say this was more of, your behavior where you're not hungry, but you just want to eat, or you're stressed and you want to eat, or like you just want to eat, not because you're hungry necessarily, but just because, it's food and we all love food and we want to have as much as we can.
So let's begin from, you usually have breakfast. The moment you wake up, you want to take your shower.
You want to, yes.
And take your breakfast. It's a thing. Whether you're hungry or not, I should have breakfast.
Yeah.
Should you skip that breakfast? It gets to 10 a.m. and you're like, Aki, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And you think it's because I skipped breakfast.
Yeah.
And most of the times, it's not because you're hungry.
Yeah.
It's just that, well, I think with our conditioning, how you've been brought up, your daily programs usually dictate that you should have breakfast. At 1 p.m. you should have your lunch.
Yes.
No, wait, you actually should do breakfast. That is when you wake up.
Yeah.
You should have your 10 o'clock tea.
Yes.
You should have your lunch. And
and
probably you had a before lunch.
Yeah.
At around 12, you had something.
All right, and not necessarily good for our health.
They're not exactly healthy.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so how about you take a break? But of course, Dr. I then would want to understand also, when we talk about behavioral, so is it like an individualized, sort of like program? Is there something, that maybe you need to stick to and maybe leave others? Because like he said, and we were off air, and you said you practiced OMAD fasting. I've never heard about that. So you starve yourself for a while. So we want to understand, so then versus now, did that work? Did it not? And, once you embrace the program, what changes you noticed, as far as your health is concerned? But of course, all that is coming up after the break. Stay with us. This is Health Diary. Welcome back. The show is Health Diary, and of course today is all about behavioral change for weight management. And to help us understand that, we have Dr. Benjamin G here, who is a laparoscopic surgeon as well as a wellness coach. And we also have Lilian Onjiru, who is a wellness champion, here to just first of all help us understand what is this behavioral concept as far as weight management is concerned, and why it is important for all of us to know about it, all right? So, Lilian, for you, can we just first of all just talk about this OMAD fasting that you tried before getting into the behavioral change concept?
No, OMAD fasting was now like not eating anything the whole day. It's like basically fasting for 24 hours.
Okay.
So I would do my meal at 6 in the evening.
In the evening?
Yes.
Okay.
So every day you just stay hungry, no water intake, basically
No
you take
water?
nothing. People have done water fasts for 21 days to shed weight.
Okay.
So mine wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, just like, no, because there's so no water, no juices.
No nothing.
No nothing.
No nothing.
Okay.
So, well, at 6 o'clock is now when I would open my fast and, rather break my fast.
Yes.
I take now. Ordinarily, I would do a smoothie. I remember I used to do like a banana with mango, with milk, obviously.
Okay.
And I think I used to add sugar because the sugar from the banana was not enough.
Like my body needs it.
We need the sugar, yes. And then, of course, now you take your normal gali and, whatever now is being taken for dinner.
I'm curious how much you would eat, because starving yourself for...
A lot.
Right?
You compensate.
Yeah.
See, I've not had this the whole day.
And then
and tomorrow I'll do it again
anyway.
and I will do my morning walk.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a lot. It's nicely portioned.
Okay.
Yes.
All
and
right.
my feeding, I had to get full.
Okay.
I have to get really full for me to feel like...
uchungu pa kwa tumbo, and then you're like...
You see the way people usually say, you look at your tummy and then... Inakaa imeshiba. that one.
That is what would happen.
That is what would happen.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And that helped, quote unquote, because it was not sustainable for you, right?
The thing is, you'll get into this thing, as Doc was saying, how it's you're on diet. I'm on an OMAD fasting program, and I'll do it for a month. Okay. So what happens after this month? You just go back to your terrible habits, or you'll think like, it has worked for this month, let me do it another month and see where I get. And then when you're there, you just relapse to your bad habits. You'll start taking your tea in the morning with the ugali again. You'll take your 10 o'clock tea. You'll take your lunch, your sakumiti, like that. So I remember, I think I lost 5 kgs at a point, and then you regain those back within the next 2 months. You're basically just punishing yourself over and over again. Yes.
And Dr. you were saying you should never starve yourself.
Rule number 1.
Rule number 1.
Never be hungry.
Never be hungry.
Yes. Why? Because the hungrier you become, the more relaxed your food rules become. The more things you are able to accept and tolerate. So the same way Linian was saying, you get to the point where you're saying, but I'm going to walk it off. I am going to the gym anyway, I will burn off. So never allow yourselves to be hungry, because once you allow that, then you allow a lot of things to come in which you know you're not meant to allow.
Yes. And I mean, of course, I'm pretty sure you know about all these fad diets that are available, right? And a lot of people would practice. And I'm just tempted to ask you, what is the danger in that? Because again, like Lillian said, and most people would be very quick to do the same. So go onto this type of diet, lose weight very fast. They're not able to sustain that, go back to their old ways and that. So what is the danger in this thing? Starving yourself, or the term, it's like you're denying your body certain nutrients, you know, because carbs ni baya, you know, in all those things, right? So what is the danger in that?
So let me start with health in terms of the food you're eating.
Okay.
If you want to say how healthy is this food, it's the nutrients that it has over the calories that it's giving. And the example I give is if I have a buffet at the end of this hallway, and at the door I'm either giving you a teaspoon of olive oil or an apple. For purposes of discussion, suppose all of them have 100 calories. The apple is healthier than the olive oil teaspoon, tablespoon. Why? Because it has nutrients. It might have the same calories, but it has more nutrients than that olive oil. So our bodies then, that's how they interpret the fuel that you're giving it. They are saying, everything that goes in, what's the nutrients versus the calories? I'm getting nutrients over calories. For your body to feel that it's not under stress, it needs to know that I have enough calories to run around and do what I need to do, but I'm also nutritionally replete. Now here's the thing about our current normal diet, what we regularly eat. It is full of calories, but not necessarily full of the nutrients that we require. And that's part of the reason we keep eating. That's why you'll have breakfast in the morning and at 10 you're feeling hungry. It's because I had the calories, but my body still tells me I need nutrients. So that's why at 10 you'll reach out, but you'll probably reach out for something that doesn't have nutrients. And therefore that cycle of I need to snack. What do you do when you deny yourself of this what you're used to eating? Now, you're not only denying your body nutrients, but even the calories it was getting. Then it says, now I can't. So your body's first response is to go into survival mode. And the first thing it says is, we are in danger. We are not going to release any water. We are not going to release any fat. And it struggles to retain it. Beyond a certain time, it will say, okay, now if we don't release this, we are going to die. And so you are going to lose part of your fat stores, your water weight will go. But what happens is the moment you go back from your temporary alteration in how you are eating and you go back to your previous eating habits, your body said, guys, we now have supplies back, let us restock, and so that we don't get to the point where we were, my little Lijipata, let us do double. And that's what happens to many people. their stores rebound, and they rebound almost 30 to 50% more than they were before. So that's the danger. We are communicating to our bodies that we are going into survival mode, and we didn't even pack enough rations to get us through this. And so what it does, it learns, next time, whenever I find food, I will take it in and I will store for future.
Yes, just in case they also deny us. They decide to deny us all those things. Okay, so Lillian, you started the program last
year, June, May-June.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what was the first few weeks like? And especially for the first week, what is it that you not were supposed to do, but what you learned about, first of all, your relationship with food and your behaviors around the same, and what you needed to change the first week?
No, luckily, with this program, you don't cut off everything on day one. You're not told, no, from today, you're not taking carbs, you're not taking this. You know. It's usually very progressive.
Okay.
Actually, I think on week 1 and week 2, you're told to take everything you've been taking, change nothing.
Ah, okay.
But then, like, take more water. Basically, that was the first change. Okay. Take more water, take more fruit.
Okay.
You see? So it was really nicely progressive. So you don't even find yourself like how now I was denying my body across 24 hours, taking nothing. It does not really crash into you. You're allowed to snack. Again, the first rule is you're not staying hungry. But then, still on the same rule is, now take note of what it is that you're taking. So, are you hungry? Yes.
Okay.
Take fruit. Don't go for fries. Don't go for the kiugali because you're hungry.
It's so weird because we always crave the bad things that we're not supposed
to. We always
eat.
crave the bad things. Yes. And I think this is what now this behavior change should be. You're changing, yes, but are you changing it to something better, or you really basically still killing yourself?
Okay.
You're doing your 24-hour fast, and then when you break that fast, what is it that you're bringing into your body? So there is, of course, now with time, I think there are some, because I've spoken to friends who, you know, somebody has gotten rid now of carbs without now the progression, and you start even having some withdrawal symptoms. The same way you stay without your caffeine, and you'll have a headache at 11 a.m. and you'll be like, it's because I didn't take coffee in the morning. But when you've done it progressively, your body actually goes adjusting into it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, and of course, the first thing that Dr. Harry said is you need to understand, first of all, your why.
Yes.
Right?
Why are you here? Why are you doing this?
Yes, I'm just curious. What was yours? What was your why? Because you are ideally fit. You are okay.
I was okay, yes.
At that point.
I had
but it's not where you wanted to be, right?
Yes.
So what was your why, very quickly?
I went to a hike. That was my first wake-up call.
Okay.
And I struggled through it. I did make to the summit. It was Elephant Hill in Aberdares. But it was
such
2 steps. We take a break of 5 minutes. 2 steps again. And that was my wake-up call. You need to get fit, Lillian. I honestly did not think of it as a weight problem then. And right now I can tell you, of course, it was a weight problem. Yes.
I like that. And I like your honesty. All right. And Dr. you said, first, rule number 1. Do not be hungry.
Do not be
hungry. Okay, so allow us to put a pause because there's so much to discuss as far as the behavioral change for weight management is concerned. So let's put a pause over there, and then next week we'll begin from that point of you're not supposed to be hungry. And you said there's 6 types of hunger.
6 types of hunger.
6 types of hunger. So we'll go through it, you know, and then also understand. So for this concept, 13 weeks, you know, of the program, by the end of the 13th week, what is usually, you know, the impact of the same? Because a lot of people are curious to understand, okay, so week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, we're not being denied anything, but at the same time, it's all about changing the mentality as far as food and relationship with the food is concerned. So allow us to put, you know, a pause over there. Dr. Benjamin J here, who's a laparoscopic surgeon as well as a wellness coach, as well as Lillian Wanjiru, who is a wellness champion. But of course, we'll still be with them next week. But for now, take a look at this health tip.
Today's health tip is how you can feel full. Always try to eat food with a lot of fiber, a lot of protein, and a lot of water in them. These 3 things are the main components of what will make you feel full after you eat.
Well, this week we are not saying goodbye, but I'd rather see you next week, because the conversation that was started as far as behavior change or behavioral change for weight management is concerned is very wide, and we do not want to leave you hanging. We still have so much to discuss, and of course that will come back next week. So we'll see you next week, same time, same place, right here on Health Diary. But for now, allow us to say a big thanks to the Avenue Hospital for hosting us today. Till next week, adios. Your food is food intake is concerned. Sorry. Tutafukuzwa sisi. Yeah. Okay. Understand more as far as